Well, hello there, traders and investors. I'm L.A. Little. This is your daily NeoTA wrap. We take a look at these markets, and we're doing it from a neoclassical perspective, using tests to tell us what the market wants to do next. I do the show 4 times a week, every Monday through Thursday. It's broadcast at or before 10 o'clock Eastern Time, archived on YouTube, and it's under the channel L.A. Little. If you want to subscribe, just reach out in the right-hand corner and hit the subscribe button. Anytime I push public content, you'll get a notification. As far as what happened today, let's look at the quotes. Pretty much a sideways day around the world. You got Europe pretty much sideways, a little bit down. Asia was the same. A little bit of a push in the Nikkei as the yen gets cheaper. Had a decent push up here in the States. And bonds sell off, silver and gold, a little bit more to the downside after yesterday's drubbing. Oil back to the other way, right? Oil's bottom, folks. I've talked about that elsewhere. It's up here on the front page. Oil patch starting to heat up for investors. You can read about that if you want. But that is what is happening. Dollar was up slightly, and it looked like last night the dollar would try to raise a little bit more tonight. So we'll try to take a look at that. Let's look at the indexes. Inside day on the S&P 500, a little bit heavier volume. Doesn't really tell you anything. Pull over the weekly chart, and let's take a look at that. Actually, let me get these lined up so you can see them completely. There we go. And on the weekly chart, so what are we doing? Nothing. We're just going sideways. You got a big push down, undercut it with more volume on the weekly, right? The tops of these swing point highs it was coming back into, it got into one that's fallen off the chart already. The top of this one's 2116, hasn't gotten into that one yet. It's way more than 6 bars. So you got some pretty good underpinning if this does want to come back down. Right now, it just doesn't want to come back down. So that's the picture there. If we go over to where the strength has been, that's the NASDAQ and the NDX. NDX in particular. Here's the NASDAQ gets over, back under. A little bit less volume than this test here. So that may lead to a little bit of a pullback. You did test into the highs low, again a little less volume, and again that means that we may get a little bit of a pushback tomorrow. We got the employment number coming up Friday. We got a lot of data tomorrow as well. Here's the NDX, same sort of thing. Again, NDX stronger, pushes into it, can't stay into it, has less volume. Again, another sign that this may try to pull back a little bit tomorrow. Russell gets over, back under, has more volume. Trying to get into this big down bar, the top of that bar. 1256 didn't quite get to it, so no test there yet. So index-wise, if anything, a slight negative bias for tomorrow. Let's look at the world markets. We'll pop over. In particular, we'll start here with the Swiss market. Let's see what they did. Okay, a little less volume. Goes under, back over. Doji. This looks like this can try and trade higher again tomorrow. Let's see if the DAX or the CAX gives us a different read. Same read on the DAX. I'll look at the FTSE and then we'll go to the CAX. FTSE really just an inside day. And the CAX slightly more volume on the push down. So kind of a mixed picture, but a lot less volume compared to what it was coming into this big bar up. So I still think that Europe wants to try and trade higher. Now that may mean that we're going to get a weaker euro tomorrow, which is what we were just talking about at the top of the show, the dollar. Let's take a look at that and see how those traded. Yesterday it did look like the euro would try to come in some and the dollar would bounce. And that is kind of what happened here, right? Euro came in a bit. Yeah, the euro's not an easy read. Let's look at the dollar and see if there's a better read on it. So on the dollar, inside day, a lot more volume. I don't know, that doesn't really tell us anything on either one of those. Let me take a quick peek at the yen. And the yen comes off more. So this has fueled two things. One is fueled the Nikkei, of course, but it's also fueled some of the risk on that started taking place again. And if that Nikkei does finally turn here, and if you remember on a long-term chart, this is something we were really watching because this is doing a bearish retest region. This is kind of a critical area where if it gets over this, right, this is a big turn. Now what you probably will see in a case like this where you've got this, this huge move down, right, then you get another leg down, now you get the push back up. Usually what's going to happen is you're going to see it come back and you're going to want to test into something significant to tell you whether or not you really have a bottom in. Where would that significance be on the monthly chart? Well, it would be back on this swing point high. So that would be a test all the way back into here, a bullish retest, an attempt to generate higher. On the weekly, looks like this big bar here might be the one that's interesting. You've got all these big wide price spread bars. You see where the support zone is, that's about 87. That looks to be the key area on any kind of a retrace. And if I go back to here, that's right at there, almost 86. So 86, 87. That would be the place I'm looking. Gold and silver, they didn't do anything today. Let's see if they gave us any signals today, because gold looks like it's going to try and trade higher. Didn't give us that signal here. Let's see if the silver market did. And silver did. Silver did the under over, so you may see it. Go back to gold. We'll look at it on a weekly, because on the weekly, gold is showing you a push into this bar. Top of that bar is 102.84. Got into it, barely stayed into it. Now we're still in the week, so we may come out of it. This looks to me like gold is going to bounce. What else we got here? Interesting. Oil patch. West Texas Intermediate. If we go to this article that I wrote and pop into this, you can see the chart that I outlined previously. And this chart has essentially what's taking place. We're right at the top. We're at 50 tonight. So we're pushing into the swing point high, into that swing point high. And this is actually drawn wrong. It really should be this bar over here being the swing point high. I just drew it wrong when I marked it up. But anyway, that was a bullish retest region. That region came back, held, and now it's pushing up, trying to break swing point highs. If you get over these, you're going to get over multiple swing points on multiple time frames, and you're going to see oil push very fast. So oil is setting up for something larger. And as I've said before to members last week, we actually got into some more names, and you can read these articles to see what we're playing around with, as well as some of them that aren't in this article. The ideal here is that you do want to be long oil. Oil's giving you a good trade, most likely on the upside. That's it for tonight. Looks to me like a maybe a little bit of soft market into the employment numbers on Friday. Have a great one. Take care, and I'll see you next time.